Okay. So here's another, like, and again, here when I'm looking at these grouping things, actually, this was the next step. I didn't even remember how I organized exactly all the patterns, but like these groupings that I'm telling you are just like factors that go well together. Factors that when you're thinking about one, usually you also start thinking about the other. So this was a good, like, you basically took the next slide, Lorenzo. Like this idea of like modular hardware, which is like this missing link here in yellow, like in this blank cell. But this is about supporting repairability. This is another big thing which kind of helps making digital education technologies more sustainable. So digital education technologies in general, they work better and they are more sustainable when they're easy to maintain, which means like do these routine upgrades, cleanups, downtime, just make things just run smoothly and easier to repair. So when things break, you need to be able to fix it. Okay. Uh, you understand that when this doesn't happen, things become fragile. So it's if it's hard to maintain things, so if it's hard to like polish, clean, and put the right oil in the gears, and it is hard to like take things apart and repair them when it breaks, this is a fragile thing. This is something which eventually will break and we will not be able to maintain it. And if we cannot like oil things properly, at some point things will just become like sluggish and slow, and we will not be able to fix them. So there are some purely strictly technical points, like the technology itself should be simple. The technology itself should be something which like simplicity helps people make sense of the technology and fix it when it breaks and like maintain it. And it should be using standard components as much as possible. But on the other side, it should also be a technology for which the institutions have capacity to maintain them. So if we are deploying a technology, there should be a technician who is in charge of keeping that working. And there should be clear paths of redress. Redress means when things stop working, I know who to kind of blame, but this is not a blame game. I know who to speak with in order to get it fixed. So when you don't have a clear path of redress, things get messy. So like if this video lecturing system or this video conferencing system broke, who do I need to speak with? Do I need to speak with the Zoom office in our university? Do I need to speak with the Italian company that distributes Zoom in Italy? Do I need to speak to Zoom themselves? Do I need to speak to my laptop manufacturer? Do I need to speak to the person that manages the Wi-Fi of the room where I'm in? Do I need to speak to the ISP, like the service provider? I don't have a clear path of redress, right? So when things break, I need to know who I should speak with. If I can do this, I can repair things. I can keep things well oiled, well maintained, and I can make the infrastructure more long lasting. If I cannot do this, then I'm in trouble, and things become more fragile. So another of the non-technical people, how do you feel about this repairability thing? So maybe Teresio.
Hello.
Hey, hi.
I don't have much to say actually to this. I mean, you're right. I don't know what
Okay.
else to say. I was like a bit perplexed about the backend thing and how it is like really sustainable to not have a backend, and what are maybe the downsides of not having one.
Yeah. So thank you. This is a good observation. It's kind of taking a step back in this digital divide point. Like the existence of kind of this coordination role. Okay. It's always kind of these are always things you can trade off. So you will never be able to achieve all of them at once. So at some point you will need to make some compromise somewhere. Okay. Um,
Because
Peer-to-peer technology. Sorry.
yeah, then you have the problem of like possible internet connection, that if you don't have a backend, then you will rely more on the two end of the connection. And so at that point there is more people you're actually excluding by not having a backend.
Yeah, but at the same time, one of the reflections here is the following. Consider the fact that sometimes we have having these kind of backends, these coordination, these systems that take the role of coordinator of a software or education technology. Uh, Sometimes the point is to kind of raise the question of like, do we really need those systems? So in some sense, notice that by the fact that I'm presenting this through Google Slides, this is now forcing us to use some Google servers. Uh, do we need this or not? If we take apart, like if we take away this role of the Google services, because we're already using Google services, Zoom services, plus or our own, let's say, local computers, if we take this role away, we have one less thing that can break, and we have one less thing that can kind of not just break technically, but also like the company can break, or the yeah, we have one less gear, one less cog that
Yeah.
can misbehave in some sense.
So we can also say that uh, that minimal or no backend could be also inserted in the repairability discussion.
Yeah. That's also part of it. I try to make these groups just to try to show main trends, okay, and main themes, main things that you can look at when you're looking at these things. And as always, as I was saying, there's never a purely technical decision. Digital divide, it's a technical problem, but it's also a social problem, right? Because if we are excluding people, this is a social problem. This repairability point, it's a technical point, but it's also an environmental point.
Yeah.
Because if things break, we make garbage, and garbage is an environmental problem, right? So they're always connected. But here we are starting to look at them from the technical perspective and like into the other fields.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, cool. Thank you. So this is a simple one. Like I guess at this point it's a pretty logical like technology which is adaptable to different contexts, right? So it should work well on all, at least most systems. Uh, this is something that we should be looking at even after addressing primary digital divide, right? Even if we are assuming that there is no problem with digital divide, everybody has equitable access to the technology, everybody can have the same experience. The problem is among the different devices, like if we are all have equal economic opportunities, if we all have equal, let's say, if we don't have accessibility problems, so that means we can all see, we can all hear, we should still have technology which is able to work on different platforms, which I can move things from one computer to another, even if I just like my change laptop, I upgrade it, I want to be able to move it to the next one. And these are main factors that support it. The fact that it is self-contained, the fact that I need to just move this bit of tech from one device to another. And it's like one single thing that I need to move. And the configuration which I made on the first device persists on the second one, even if they are different. This is something which kind of is good to make things break less frequently. Basically, the whole theme here is how to make things break less frequently, as you can understand. Um, this is like another one which is um, a bit more tricky. So maybe we can stop here for a few minutes more, which is about building institutional capacity to work on having resilient education technologies. So the education technologies that we use, they should support institutions in taking care of about the education technologies. So these are the three things that we have highlighted: simple technological stacks, institutional maintenance capacity, and clear path to redress. I've already mentioned like what they are. Why do these play together with simplicity? Because if the technological system is simple, then I need less people in order to like fix it when it breaks or to maintain it. If the whole system runs on a super complicated and super exoteric technological stack, which requires like one person just to maintain that system, the institutional capacity will not be there. Like I will not be able to hire one technician just to maintain that one system. And when things break, I will not know who to speak because maybe, I mean, all the technicians are the same from looked from outside. I don't know that there is like this one person who is the only magician that is able to work with this. So it makes things more opaque. It makes more unclear how to fix things when they break. Uh, Keeping in mind that the technicians, the IT staff, should never become the scapegoats, right? So this shouldn't be like about, oh, we should know who to blame, and who to blame is that person. Not that one, that one. The one sitting on the right, he is the one at fault. Uh, some of these systems actually make it so that if you are not designing the technologies properly, you end up creating scapegoats. You end up creating like, oh, that tech person, it's that tech person's job to make sure that everything works well. And when it breaks, it's their fault. So a good education technology system, or I would argue any good technology like digital technology, should make it so that things uh, you cannot scapegoat the IT person because the system is so exoteric and so complex that it requires this like super specific knowledge. But it should rely as much as possible on good practices of like documenting things, making things again simple and easy to maintain, so that when something breaks, I mean, yes, it's a system failure. It's not one person not doing their things properly.